Hello, and welcome to the Career Change Podcast. So, today I want to talk about which 5 steps I would take if I would currently be in a job that looks perfect on the outside, but is actually secretly draining me on the inside. And I know that for many of you watching or listening, this is something that you can relate to because this is what I speak to a lot of my clients about, and also women who contact me. And it's always like this thing like, but my life, looks really perfect on the outside, and then specifically my career, I have this amazing career. I have an amazing salary. I have an amazing job title. I have stability. I have permanent position. So I should be happy, right? I should be so happy and so grateful. But they actually feel miserable inside, and how can you justify something like that? And this is just, it happens to so many of us. So I thought this is just something that would be really nice just to dive into. And I want you to know that this is so normal and you're not alone. So the first step that I would take is stop gaslighting yourself, because I know a lot of women say, I should be grateful, and they do downwards comparison. They compare themselves to everybody who's got it so much worse, so I should not complain, I should just be happy. But I know you should be grateful, but you can be grateful and want more. Yes, there's nothing wrong with being grateful and wanting more for yourself. I mean, isn't that normal? Like, we're here on earth to learn, to grow, to develop, to express ourselves, to attain the highest possible. That's with anything, whether it's in a job, whether it's in starting your own business, you want to grow, you want to learn. But of course, you don't always want to be in this situation where you're never satisfied, kind of thing. But that's not the point. The point is that you are happy with where you are, you're grateful, but you just want more out of it because you know that you are deserve more. Like, being grateful doesn't mean that you just settle. And also the fact that you are feeling drained and disconnected and unfulfilled. So you can have all these things and be grateful, right? So you can be grateful, but you can still feel miserable about your job. All these emotions can happen at the same time. But that's information. Your body is trying to tell you something that that this job is actually doesn't really suit you at the moment. And it actually starts to get louder and louder. And a lot of women, they wait, they shove it under the carpet, like gaslighting, and then it just gets louder and louder, and then it ends up being burnout, or you get anxiety, or some people get panic attacks, or they're just super, super, super exhausted and they can't sleep. So all these things, some people even get diseases. I mean, like, you don't want to go there, right? So you need to ring the bell much earlier, or really start to listen to those subtle signs of your body before you hit rock bottom. And I've seen it way too often that women wait way too long until they hit rock bottom. All right. Step 2, become a student of your own energy. And I want you for 1 week just to get a journal and write down in the journal, like, what is giving you energy and what is draining your energy. And start looking for patterns, start looking for clues, because you're going to start seeing eventually that there are certain things, think about which tasks make time disappear, which conversations are lighting you up, which part of your day feel heavy and slow, because those patterns will tell you more and more about the type of work that you would want to do instead. And another important thing is, which we'll probably start to figure out once you do this, is it the actual job that you don't enjoy doing? Or is it the environment? Is it the colleagues? Is it the toxic boss? Is it the culture of the work? And this is two very big distinctions that I want you to think about, because I have some clients that come to me and they, we figure out, okay, it's really the job. They've outgrown it. They want to do something completely different. So they pivot to something else. Or I have clients and then we figure out, oh no, but it's not it's not the job. Actually, they like the job, but it's everything around. It's the toxic manager. It's the culture that they don't like. It's the people. It's the whole environment that's just toxic, that's negative, that's not stimulating them or motivating them to be their best self. And then when they leave to a different company with a whole different culture and they do the same thing, they're actually so much more fulfilled. So, through knowing what's giving you and draining your energy, you will start to see these patterns and figure out for yourself if it's the actual job or the environment. Then, the third step is to reconnect with who you actually are. Because remember, you're not the same person you were 10 years ago. You've changed, you've grown. I also see that a lot when women become moms. They have different priorities, they have different needs, they want different things out of their career. And what I see happen all the time when women are drained in their job, they just jump straight into, they've quit or they get fired and then jump straight into a different role, and they end up feeling exactly the same in a couple of months, maybe a year later. And that's because they've just changed the outside, but they haven't changed anything on the inside. They haven't worked on the inside. And I always tell my clients, like, real fulfillment doesn't start with your CV, but it starts to get to know yourself on a much deeper level. Like, what are your values? What are your non-negotiables? What gives you energy? What drains your energy? What kind of environments do you thrive in? What do you need from work to make it feel meaningful and fulfilling? And I want to ask you this too. What does success look like to you? Think about it. Not your parents, not your friends, not society, because I speak to so many women who've been living someone else's version of success, who've been doing everything for the outside world in order to be liked, accepted, and fit in. And they actually wake up one day and realize they've climbed the wrong ladder, or the ladder is leaning against the wrong wall, however you want to put it. But they've been chasing someone else's version of success. And that's why they're so miserable, because actually their values are completely different. Their work is totally not aligned with the person who they are, or the person who they've become. So it doesn't matter how impressive your job looks on paper, because eventually, if it is not in alignment with who you are, it's going to start to feel empty. So for me, for example, my values are freedom, adventure, personal development. So me staying in corporate was just never for me, because felt like I was chained to my desk. I needed freedom. I needed to travel. I needed to do things, experience life. So starting my own business was perfect for me, because I was able to do all these things. And being a coach, like, I'm always busy with personal development. I'm always busy with trying to, like, working with a mindset and all that type of things. So I'm really living my values every single day. And to help my clients also figure this stuff out, I have this amazing tool called the talent scan. So it's like a personality test, only it's different to normal personality tests, because it actually goes a layer deeper. It communicates with your subconscious, very technical. But basically, you figure out what are natural talents, what gives you energy, what drains your energy, what are your pitfalls, how you sabotage yourself, and also what are natural talents that you are currently not using. So it is really important that you ask yourself these type of things. What does a meaningful career actually look like to you? What truly energizes you and not anybody else? Stop comparing yourself to other people's journey. Step number 4, stop overlooking what you already have. So a lot of when clients come to me, they say, look, I've been doing this my whole life. I can't go into a different field or a different area because I don't have experience in that. But that's not true, because you have transferable skills and you can do so much with your transferable skills. So to give you an example, I had a client, she was always in sales, and she now went into PO, what do you call it? PMO, something completely different from a sales manager. But she did that. So she was working also in the hotel industry, and now she's working for the government, something also completely different. But how she did that was also via networking. There's a whole different podcast I can talk about. But basically, when she had the interview, they saw something in her, they liked her. Plus, they were like, they saw something in her transferable skills and the things that she didn't know. They were like, we can teach you that. So that's the whole thing. That just because if you see like an opening or a position, and you're like, I don't have all the all the skills that they're asking for, apply for it anyway. A lot of men do that. Women always, they never do it. But you should, because you have so many transferable skills. And they might just really like your energy and think, oh, things that she doesn't know, we'll teach her. So for yourself, write down every skill, every strength, every experience you have, and ask yourself, where else can these be valuable? What else can I be? Where else can I use them? And if you don't know, ask people around you, ask your friends, ask your colleagues what they think are your biggest skills and strengths are. And sometimes you'll be like really surprised at what all the things you actually can do. And then the last step is take one real step forward. So you don't have to completely change your life. You don't have to completely quit your job and now jump into something new. Take it slowly, take it easy, but keep the momentum. Like clarity comes through action, doesn't come through just thinking. You have to start taking action. So, for example, you can start maybe volunteering somewhere or having a coffee chat with someone, or researching some things, but start talking to people about it. Because some women, and literally they come to me, they've been years thinking about something else, maybe talking about it, but just never taking action, never doing anything about it. And that is actually a form of procrastination, and procrastination kills dreams. It's just such a pity. So, to give a personal example, I also started to try just different things to see what I like. Like I knew I wanted to get out of corporate, but what else? I don't know. So I started to become a beautician, and I did an internship, and I realized no, this is actually not it. Then I became a air hostess, and I actually really loved it, but I was still missing something, like missing working with my head, missing the psychology. And then I came to coaching. Do I regret all those experiences? Not at all. I learned so much from these things. And because I knew that the whole time there was missing something, I feel like they were stepping stones to what I'm doing now. But I needed those experiences before in order to get to where I am today. So take imperfect steps forward. You might try something that doesn't work out. That's fine. At least you tried, at least you moved. How do you want to look back on your day one day? You want to live a life with no regrets or what ifs. You don't want to be like, oh, I should have, I could have. Try different things. And if that's already like a too big of a step, maybe book a clarity call with me or with another coach. I also have a free ebook that you can download that already says some of these steps. Start listening to more podcasts on this. Start following more people who speak about these things, because that's just going to get you moving. As long as you keep on moving into the right direction. So, to recap the 5 steps, step number 1, stop gaslighting yourself and acknowledge how you actually feel, because your feelings are valid. Your feelings are trying to tell you something. Don't ignore them. Don't ignore these warning signs, because they're going to get bigger, 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 bigger. And sometimes it even causes a burnout, because, like, finally, are you ever going to listen? Number 2, become a student of your own energy and get specific about what's draining you. And 3, reconnect with who you actually are, not who you think you should be, but who you are, who you've become. You're not the same person you were 10 years ago. So, and reconnect with your values, your strengths, and what actually matters with you, your non-negotiables. Number 4, stop overlooking what you already have and start seeing how transferable your skills really are. Because honestly, you can do so many more different types of jobs with the skills that you have. And number 5, just take one step forward this week. Not when you're ready, because being ready is a myth. Now is the time. So if you've liked this episode, I'd love to hear from you. Send me DM. I'd love to get connected. Start following me on Instagram, on LinkedIn. Subscribe to this, my YouTube channel or my podcast. And I'd love to get to know you. I'd love to hear from you. Anyway, thanks for listening or watching, and till next time.